Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome
Hi.
to today's edition of Total Health Live. I'm one of your hosts, Dr. Christopher. With me, as always, is
Right.
nutritionist to the stars. Well, I don't say you were in Hollywood. You were somewhere in Los Angeles. Monika Klein.
Yes, somewhere in Los Angeles County, not necessarily Los Angeles City. So I'm close to the LA Ventura border. So
Do you need a passport?
Northern part. Yes, a passport.
Passport together.
No, you don't need a passport between counties. That's a good thing.
It is a good thing. Hey, so stuff is happening.
Yeah, so I didn't send you any updates on the COVID news, but interesting about the Novavax, which is the fourth. Well, is it the fourth? It's the fifth. No, it's not the fifth
It's
because
the
there are
fourth in
others.
the U.S., I think.
Yeah, because there's others. The Russian one, the Chinese one, and blah blah blah.
Sputnik.
Yeah. So Novavax, and they're saying it's not available yet, but they've had some incredible trials, and and the side effects are less. So that is thrilling for those
future recipients of the Novavax.
Future recipients. So yeah, that's good. And so I was also watching something about, taking the mRNA vaccine out of the realm of experimental because it's been given to 2.6 billion people already, apparently.
Just a few.
So, yeah. So, I guess it's proven, but we don't know any long-term. And that's been my whole concern.
You can always wait 10 years.
Well, who knows how long the long term and who knows what it's going to look like and who it's going to affect. I mean, that's the whole nature of the whole thing, the whole situation we have here. But I'm seeing a lot of people. I'm going to the hospital on a daily basis, so everyone's masked there. But I'm seeing a lot of people out and about, some masked, some not. And so it's beginning to happen. People are shedding their masks.
It's beginning to look a lot like mask shed.
Mask shed.
As opposed to shedding the virus.
More creative mask shed.
Mask shed. It's not quite like
Chris
the Love
mask.
Shack.
Chris mask.
It's the mask shed.
It's a Chris mask. It's beginning to look a lot like. Anyway, so that is some COVID updates. What else in the COVID world? In the COVID world.
Delta.
Delta,
the
Delta
dominant.
Delta Dawn. What the hell is going on?
No.
Yeah. So the Delta, and of course they're saying those unvaxxed are more susceptible to it. So I guess we shall see. We shall see what unfolds day by day.
Okay, Sarah.
How are you seeing? Are you seeing a lot less masking? And are you?
Well, no, I saw a lot more masking because we were in. God, this is so weird. We're having some technical difficulties on my end. Chrome, which I am broadcasting through via StreamYard, is being totally unresponsive to me. So I can continue broadcasting, but I can't see nothing else.
Well, I have something going on with my Outlook, which causes problems.
Your Outlook on life?
My Outlook is very fuzzy right now. No, Outlook. Do not do an update at certain times of the year. That's all I have to say.
Don't do it right now.
Well, not while you're here watching this or participating in this wonderful broadcast.
It's delicious, it's delightful, and it's lovely, but I can't move to a different tab in Chrome.
So what does that mean? Should we just chat, or you can't?
We're gonna chat. I mean, if you
don't have Q&A, we don't have the Q&A.
We have the Q&A, but I can't scroll through the Q&A.
Oh, well, that's not good.
It's a bummer. Oh no, wait! Something just happened.
Something happened.
It jumped to a different tab. Well, that was interesting. We might be able to do something here. So anyway, but let's talk a little bit about Delta, and that's not Delta Dawn for those of you who are boomers.
What the heck have you got on?
Here we go. It worked finally.
Oh, good.
More or less. Oh no, but it's only allowing me to see the things from last week. Okay, wait. Where did we stop with Eleanor Are we stopped? I
We
can't remember.
only did 2 of the questions because we had so much to say.
We had so much to say. Well, the Delta variant is the one that has come from India and has produced 99% of the infections in the UK, and looks like it's going to make a grand entrance here into the United States. Actually, it's already here, but for those who are of the unmasked, you are very likely to, and unvaxxed, you are likely to contract.
Okay, so that's interesting. Is it the unmasked or the unvaxxed?
The answer is yes. It's
So
not
if
an or.
you are vaccinated, you should still be wearing a mask because you're vulnerable to the Delta?
No, I mean, the Delta, I was talking to my brother-in-law who is a PhD candidate over here in University of California, and we had this long discussion about it, and apparently if you are vaccinated, you are not likely at all to contract Delta, nor are you to spread it. But there are occasionally breakthrough infections, because after all, you know that as we look at these things, even though you look at a vaccine that might be 94% effective or so, there are a few breakthrough infections here and there, but the severity of the symptoms is going to be extremely little if there is a breakthrough infection. So,
and this is what I was mentioning last time. I need to get closer to the camera because you're so close.
Well, I can go back. The reason I'm close is I'm trying to figure out how to manipulate the technology so that I actually read the question.
Do whatever you must. Do whatever you must.
I twiddle my thumbs. I know to look at the little camera light. We have a green light here instead of a red light that you might have seen when you were producing all those shows for the CBC, as well as your own Total Health Talk show on cable.
Yes, we did a lot of production. And that was good. Sharing the message of health and healing. Although CBC was more ballet, which is, I think, health and healing too. It's wonderful.
Oh, this is totally awesome. It has finally decided to cooperate.
Fantastic.
So Chrome, you Google people on Chrome. I don't know what's going on, but for the last 3 weeks, I've had to go to Firefox and Safari because there is no place like Chrome. It's been giving me a lot of problems.
No place like Chrome.
Yeah. And the irony is our broadcast platform, which is StreamYard, works best on Chrome. So.
By the way, speaking of holidays, are we broadcasting next week? Because it isn't the 4th, is it? It's the
4th is on a Sunday.
The 4th is Sunday this year.
And the 1st is Canada Day.
May the 4th go with you. Yes. Yes, it is Canada Day on July 1st. So happy Canada Day.
One of my friends in DC rewrote the lyrics to "Oh Canada," and she referred to it as "Oh Canada, my cold and sleepy home."
Is she Canadian?
No, she's not Canadian.
She's not allowed. Okay,
she's not allowed. Oh, anyway, so I guess in terms of COVID, just still mask up when you need to. I mean, but the funny thing is, we just came back from several days in Mexico, and it was interesting because everybody is masked. I mean, it's rare. Occasionally you would see somebody who was unmasked, and that was an American tourist who felt like, they owned the world.
What's the vaccination rate like there?
It's pretty small. I want to say it's under 20%. I could be wrong, but it's not that high. But I know people in fairly remote areas who had actually gotten the Pfizer. I thought they were getting Sputnik with the Russians, but apparently
that's what I heard.
There's been infiltration from Pfizer and a few others. And so you can, even those who have been vaccinated, though, continue to wear their masks, which is interesting.
And I don't know if we talked about this, about spreading out your dose, your first dose and your second dose. And that seems to be a better outcome. So
allegedly
consider that. No, research has shown, this was research done by the IFM, the Institute of Functional Medicine. Joe Pizzorno reported on that in their May. They did a 6-month webinar series on COVID and COVID treatment and vaccinations, etc. So I was listening to the one in May, and they were discussing that specifically.
Yeah, there is other research which shows that T cell, your memory T cells within the bone marrow actually are not as strong if you spread it out. So I think it's a very interesting thing. And as I've said, often it's going to take 2, 3, 5 years to figure out exactly.
Yeah, as we've been saying all along. I mean, it might be serving this part of your anatomy and physiology and biochemistry, and may not be, helping this. So,
and I'm willing to bet there's genetic variability, although nobody's
absolutely. There always is.
So, speaking of genetics and genetic variability, we have people of various genotypes asking us questions.
Yes. Ask away. Is that person's name Jean?
Par exemple. No, Eleanor. I've got Eleanor.
Eleanor. It's not Jean from
We don't have Jean. No, we don't have Jean from Gene-O-Rama. We have Eleanor,
Texas.
Eleanor from Montauk, from the island.
Montauk. Oh, I love the lobsters. Oh my God, the best lobsters.
Long Island.
Speaking
of summer and lobster fest and crab fests,
so
with
good.
the summer in full swing and everything opening up, I am drawn, not like drawn butter.
Oh, is this her question?
This is her question from Eleanor. Eleanor has an actual question.
Eleanor, welcome.
Eleanor, forgive the delay. We're getting to your question here. So with the summer, I talked about lobsters and drawn, and she says drawn, but I said drawn butter. But
drawn butter.
With summer in full swing,
yes,
and everything opening up, I am drawn to having larger portions and just enjoying myself. After a year of lockdown, I feel like I might lose control at the dinner table or at a restaurant table. Any way to curb my appetite?
Charades.
Well, shut your mouth.
Yes, there are ways to curb your appetite.
She might lose control of the dinner table.
But here's the thing. You can control your appetite, but let's ask what appetite really means. Is the appetite you have for like experiencing life, because maybe you've been feeling deprived for the last year and a half. So
have you been in emotional lockdown?
Emotional lockdown, as we all have. Mental lockdown, as we all have. Now I've got doing the hands here. But yes, what are you have an appetite for? You have an appetite for doing some of the things that you haven't been able to do, like, sitting on the dock of the bay or the ocean,
watching the tide roll away,
watching those lobsters come in. And so I mean, this is what we think. We think appetite just has to do with food and drink, but it doesn't. It has to do with life and living, experiencing your senses fully, seeing things, breathing, without a mask. That's nice to be able to do that. As long as you're being careful, and because we're still in a very transitional. We're still in a very transitional time.
Yep.
So you want to be careful. So visually and auditorily and, fragrances, smelling the fresh sea air while you're lucky to be in Montauk, because I bet it's beautiful there right now, the whole area that you're in. So what do you have? I want you to think about that. So, because if you feed your senses, you feed your soul, you don't have to constantly be overeating. It's, appetite is more than just food, as I said, food and drink.
But I mean, a simple thing that I've often told my patients over the years, for the first 3 decades or so, was that very often an increased appetite is actually one of the ways that dehydration manifests itself.
Cheers.
And so just drink some water before your meal, which has often been a really good thing to curb appetite. I don't know if you found that to be the case.
Absolutely. And what I'm saying, though, is I want you to think a little deeper. Think a little deeper about, what appetite means to you. I mean, what does it mean to you? And maybe it's like a shift in thinking for many people, because we don't think of it meaning anything else than eating and drinking. But I'm encouraging you or inviting you to kind of think about, how can you enrich, how can you nourish, how can you experience all that your senses have to experience. And this lock and deprivation that we've been experiencing on many levels has done a number. So I want you to just take your time. I think that's what last year taught us is, the benefits of slowing down and really taking in what's going on around you in your environment, inside of you, who you are, learning to be, getting to know yourself. And that can be very healing and very nourishing. And so when you're doing that kind of thing, you are not needing to feed yourself with other things. And so that is often the cause of overeating. So as you start the summer.
So I got jet scare.
As you, can you hear me? Am I on?
I had to mute myself.
Okay. So that's an experience. That was fun, wasn't it? Like a jet coming over your house.
It wasn't Penny in the jets.
Yeah. So back to like the practical things. So what can you have? You can prepare your meals, plan ahead what you might be having before you go. Remember to have more regular meals throughout the day rather than saving for that big meal at the end of the day or big lunch or whatever. So just pace yourself. That's really key, and get some exercise. I mean, that will help you, and try to exercise before you have your meal rather than right after your meal. So yeah, I mean, I hope that helps in giving you some tips. I mean, this is going to be a summer, so it's not just, it's not a race to eat all these things that you've missed maybe. But it's like pacing yourself. Eat healthy, eat as healthy as possible. Lots of fruits and vegetables are available right now. So good for you. So good for you. Flavonoids, have some wonderful flavonoids in the fruits and vegetables that are very healing for the immune system. So we even though you might be vaccinated, you still have to protect your immune system. I mean, you always have to do that. I can't hear you, Christopher.
The second jet came by and had to mute myself again.
The second jet bring a jet full of fruits and vegetables and wonderful, natural, healthy food.
No, I think they're on maneuvers from the Naval Air Station here in Coronado.
Oh, that's right. You do have a naval air station over there. Yes, you do.
So, but I do like the idea of hydration. I like the idea of exercise in advance of when you're eating. I mean, in general, I think part of the challenge too is mindful eating, because a lot of times when we're going to be out and about now, having dinner with friends, for example, we will start to have a tendency towards unconscious eating and just eating without really thinking about it because you're so busy conversing and having a great time with people.
There are different kinds of people. Some people eat less when they go out or when they're socializing.
Right.
Some people actually, because again, you're enjoying who you're with, you're enjoying the environment. It's not all about the food. It's about the experience. So, some people do that and some people do overeat. And here's a tip, if you are ordering something, you don't need to eat the whole thing. You can eat half of it, take the rest home. Easy. Or share it with who you're going out with.
Yeah, we've actually found over the years that most restaurant portions are about double of what we actually would consume on a normal basis. So,
well, I grew up in Canada. When I lived in Canada, we would always call it American size. The American size, because they were
grande.
Yeah, meals were huge compared to what we were used to.
It's the same true of Europeans. I remember some of the folks in Russia used to refer to Americans as the hamburger eaters. So that's how they knew. Hamburger eater must be an American.
Must be an American. Well, it is an American thing, isn't it?
An American pie. Bye, Miss American
I
Pie.
wonder if it was actually originated. No, Mr. Hamburger. He was not from Hamburg.
Yeah, it depends on who you believe. Some say it was in St. Louis. Some places say it was other places. But
I don't think he was from Hamburg.
No, but people in Hamburg were famous for open face ground beef sandwiches.
Yeah, Schnitten. So. They're called Schnitten. Schnitten, yes.
Schnitten.
Yeah, open face and and sausages. They're very well known for sausages in
love my sausages. For dogs, we have sausages, but that's a whole other story. So anyway, Eleanor, I hope that helps you with modifying your. Well, actually, I would say with reducing your fear of overeating this summer.
Yeah, some of it is just the fear
Yeah.
alone, so go and embrace the time, have a good summer, eat well, take good care of yourself.
Take good care of yourself. You don't belong to me. All right, so let's go down to the Lone Star State. We have Trevor from El Paso, Texas. He says, I am a meat and potatoes kind of person. Mostly steak. Trevor, I'm with you, except for the potatoes. I grew up. I love my steak. And the rarer the better. If you sear it on two sides, I'm ready to rock and roll. Because my mom, when I was like 7 or 8 years old, my mom would have me help her in the kitchen making steak tartare, which is raw beef.
It is raw.
And so I developed a bloodthirsty taste as a child.
You animal.
I am. Anyway, so Trevor grew up eating this way, and he feels like he should become more of a plant-based eater. He says, I sometimes face ridicule from my family and friends when I focus on doing just that, becoming plant-based. Any suggestions of how to avoid the ridicule or handle this? Huh.
Now, what was the ridicule again? I missed that because I was thinking
So Trevor says, okay, let me repeat it here. So he says, I am a meat and potatoes kind of person.
I heard that part. Yes.
All right. That's the part I liked. Grew up eating this way, and I feel like I should become more of a plant-based eater. I sometimes face ridicule from family and friends when I focus on doing just that. Any suggestions of how to avoid or handle this?
Okay, so I was thinking, I was lost in space for a moment. I was thinking you were getting ridiculed for eating the steak all the time because I would encourage you to be more plant-based for sure, and never mind what anybody else says. It's better for you. It's better for a lot. It's better for the animals, certainly. It's better for the planet. So focus. Did you see that sad story about the cows being lost? I didn't see all of it because it was so heartbreaking, but they got lost.
Lost in space?
On some, yesterday it happened in some field. And I'm not sure if it was a local story. I'm sorry, I'm such a bad reporter on this, but it was so sad. And the way they were capturing them anyway, that one of the cows was actually finally saved. Thank God. Poor defenseless, innocent creatures. Anyway, I am a big fan of going mostly plant-based, although I do have, meat and animal protein, but no, I try really not to have it that often. I was a little surprised. One of my husband's aides bought these 2 New York steaks last week, and she was going to puree it for my husband. And I'm like, wow, that's so foreign here. But every once in a while, I don't mind it. I don't mind having that, or some roast beef or something like that. But try, let the ridicule happen. I mean, you're in Texas, right, Trevor? So that is.
Trevor's in El Paso, Texas, where
that is meat country. Yeah.
They talk like this. There's plenty of cattle ranches. They talk like this to keep the dust out of their.
Well, maybe you can start a new trend there. I mean, it's not like it's a new thing nationally. I mean, people are trending that way to be more plant-based. So maybe you could be a trailblazer.
I mean, Trevor, how much time do you actually spend with your family? And the other thing is, aren't some of your friends plant-based eaters?
So that's an interesting thing. How much time do you spend with your family? Maybe it's his wife and his kids. So
I can't escape my wife and kids. What do I do?
Maybe it's a lot. So we don't know who your family entails.
You could be a closet plant-based eater.
You could.
Hide the tofu.
Be proud of it. Be proud of it. I mean, there's so much goodness, so many wonderful things. Here comes my meat eater, my little creature. She's a meat eater. She's my little cat.
I don't see your little creature. Is your Kittler there?
Yeah, she is. She's coming to visit because guess what? She wants some food. She wants to say hello. She's our mascot. She wants to say hello.
She's not plant-based, though.
She's not plant-based at all. Are
Well,
you?
that's just is there something wrong with that?
No, she should not be plant-based. Okay,
There
bye-bye. See ya.
there are people though who feed their dogs and cats plant-based diets. I
Yeah, I
think
don't think it's good for them. I
probably
mean,
not.
I don't think it's good for them, but I'm not a
Hmm.
vet, but I understand that they do require, I mean, cats require more protein than dogs. Dogs require more fat.
Hmm.
So, I mean, there
Well,
are lots of treats you could give them, and that some are plant-based because the grains are actually a little bit good. Like the treats are usually grain-based.
so Trevor, I think that if you're making a change, sometimes I hate to say this, but you may need to find other friends in addition to your current circle of friends who are
Why
more
don't you
supportive.
start a plant-based group? Now that you're
You
going out
could.
and about, you could say, plant-based lovers, come on, every Tuesday night we're going to go and try something.
In fact, I will tell you from a digital standpoint, Facebook is actually one of the best places for establishing and maintaining groups, more so
Mm,
than pages and other things. But that's my marketing hat
mhm.
on.
Yeah,
And groups are actually being pushed heavily by Facebook, and I'm sure you can find online support to answer some of these very same questions about how to. It's not so much avoiding, but I think just handling it. This is a personal choice. You don't have to succumb to necessarily feeling embarrassed or by people referring to you as eating nothing but rabbit food or what are you, a bunny, and things like that. So,
yeah.
um,
My dad used to say that all the time.
but being more of a
Salads.
plant-based eater doesn't mean that you can't still enjoy some animal-based protein with your friends and family periodically, because you're
Yeah.
not saying that you're being exclusively plant-based. So,
And there's also beans, there's grains. It's not
right.
just vegetables and fruits. I mean, there's lots of things you can make.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
could go to a Mexican restaurant and have vegetarian options, for example.
yeah,
You could have, say, a
exactly.
quesadilla and some rice and beans. Of course, it's pretty high carb, but there are many options to
Mhm.
have. And maybe if you're going out, you have a little less control sometimes over your intake than if you're actually making your food at home. Hopefully, if you are married and have children, they're not ridiculing you also, because that could be pretty tough.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's tofu, there's all sorts of things that are made of tofu. There's, all sorts of things made from beef and I mean, beans and, chickpeas and all sorts of things like that. But also, mushrooms are very meaty as
Mushrooms are
well.
great. A
So,
nice alternative to a hamburger if you're out with
yeah.
friends is a
Yeah.
big portobello mushroom cap burger.
Absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
hopefully, we gave you some ideas, Trevor.
hopefully, Trevor. I mean, good luck to you with that. If you have any other questions or comments, or just let us know how it's going. Just put a
Invite
little
us to your
comment in there.
group. Invite us to your group. We'll
Yeah,
love to join you.
they're all the plant based. We're going to call them the planet plant. Um,
Plant-based El Pasans.
yeah, Texans for plant
Texans
based
unite.
diets.
Texans unite for eating plant
Veggie.
food.
Well, plant based is interesting too, because it doesn't mean that you're vegan. You could be vegetarian and be
Yes.
primarily plant based.
Yeah.
Or what you said earlier was that you wanted to add more of a plant based diet. So that doesn't say that you can't have a piece of salmon and a lot of good veggies in a salad. That would still make you primarily plant based. So
Yeah. And you might want to be a little more strategic. Maybe you want to have like, fish and maybe fish or meat or chicken, maybe three
mhm.
times a week
Right,
instead of 6 times a week.
right.
So you can, substitute and you can lessen your meat meals.
Meat meals.
Meat meals. Meet me at my meat meals.
Beat
Meatless
me, me,
meals.
me. So next up today we have Dave from Harrodsburg. Where's Harrodsburg? Is that Pennsylvania?
Healdsburg. I think it's Healdsburg. That's up in Northern California.
Healdsburg.
Lovely area in the
No, I
redwoods.
was thinking of areas that are near Harrisburg, which is the
Yeah,
capital of
there's
Pennsylvania.
Harrisburg. Yeah, there's Harrisburg. I think this
Healdsburg.
is Healdsburg. Yeah.
Have they all healed there?
Heal.
Hey.
Yes, because it's
Oh,
beautiful there.
speaking of healing, this sounds like the Last Supper. Dave says, I love my wine and often find that it doesn't interfere with my healthy eating, but it rather enhances it. Any
Uh-huh.
thoughts?
I thought you were going to say, I love my wife.
I love my wine. I know.
I love my
I love
wine.
my wife too.
And my wife's okay. My wife's okay.
Well, by the way, going back to what Trevor was saying, my wife likes to eat several days of meat-free, even fish-free, chicken-free. So she doesn't do as well with a heavy meat diet. I do better with more animal protein.
Yeah, and a lot of people, and it depends on your blood type too. There's a correlation there too, but it's also your enzymes, your hydrochloric acid, how you're able to break down some of those heavier proteins. Those.
Hey, I'm dropping hydrochloric acid regularly.
Yeah, and you don't want to have it if you have a burning, if it burns you definitely don't want to have that, because that could be another medical issue that you'd have to check out, namely an ulcer or some gastritis that you might be suffering from. So,
back to Dave. I love my wine. Often find it doesn't interfere with my healthy eating, but it enhances healthy eating. It's interesting. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, sometimes just having that nice fine glass of wine, and that's really a very great wine area as well in Healdsburg area, northern, it's near Napa and Sonoma and all these other areas. Because as we were saying for the first question that I can't remember who it was. Our first,
I think it was Eleanor from Montauk.
Eleanor, yes, taking your time. Sometimes, sipping on that fine glass of wine makes you just want to sort of sit down and enjoy enjoy the moment and the experience, and sort of await your meals and not be rushed, and just sort of, oftentimes it's not even what you eat, it's how you eat. And if you're eating slowly and gradually and enjoying, you're going to be digesting much better. So I'm assuming that's how you're consuming your wonderful meals.
Unless it's breakfast wine.
Are we finished with?
Well, I mean, let's see. So he says, "Oh shoot, can you still see me or hear me?"
Yes, I can.
Good. Okay, because Chrome is acting up again. It doesn't interfere with my.
It's got a coronavirus, right?
A coronavirus, yeah. Chrome 21. Chroma 21. Yeah, I mean, the other thing is too, some people find that just if it doesn't bother you, I don't know if you're having sulfite-free wine or organic or fairly natural or so. I notice a difference when I do consume wine between organic and non-organic.
And and it might be also you're rationalizing, like you don't want to give up your wine. I don't know. It sounds like you approve of what you're doing and you're enjoying it, and you don't want to, stop it. So, I mean, I wouldn't want you to take away something unless you're asking us, should I stop this habit? And that doesn't sound like you're asking that in your question.
Well, if Dave, if you're interested in doing a detoxification program, we do recommend you eliminate alcohol for that short period of time when you're giving your body a rest, in particular liver and others. So.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I mean, it's still alcohol. Everyone thinks, oh, wine is so great and healthy. It's got so much resveratrol in it, and et cetera, et cetera. But it's still alcohol. So alcohol's alcohol. Alcohol is aging your cells and doing all sorts of other things. So good with the bad. Weighing. We're always cost benefit, right? We are doing a lot of hands work.
I'm doing the hula hands too. I think I'm ready for a luau. Hey, speaking of readiness from the Sooner State, we have Monique from Tulsa. Monique, I love Tulsa. I've been to Tulsa on several occasions, and I really do like Tulsa. One of my best friends.
I've never been to Tulsa.
One of my best friends who passed away several years ago used to teach with me, and he was from Tulsa and had a big chiropractic clinic there.
I remember you had a very Tulsa.
Romero.
You had a Tulsa connection.
I did have a Tulsa connection. Actually, I had several people from Tulsa and Broken Arrow, and I'm actually surprised I remember all these places.
Well, if you've been there, it's hard to forget them.
It's hard to forget. It's I believe it's
Yeah.
the Sioux have a huge reservation there too, and the Indian Museum is pretty spectacular. Anyway, sorry, Monique. But I do know your area.
Let's talk about Monique.
Monique, you are unique because you live in
Yeah.
Tulsa. And this is more of a request than it is a question. So Monique says, I love salads, and I'm always surprised at the fact that people have trouble knowing what to put in their salads. Please enlighten the masses. Thank you.
I think we had a question like that last week or the week before, and it was, what to put in salads. And yes, you can put anything in your salad, and it can be any type. You can even chop up some steak. You
could. It could be a salmon salad, a steak salad, or a chicken.
Could be a salmon salad. You just slice up. I used to make this salad. It was so great. It was this big platter, and it was, slices of I think it was maybe maybe not. No, it wasn't tri-tip. It was, I can't remember what kind, but it was a nice piece of meat. And then on one side it was tomatoes, and the other side it was cucumbers or something like that. And it was delicious. That's all you needed. You sprinkle a little bit of olive oil on it, and it was delicious. I don't think it was cucumbers, but it was, and then you can add some arugula if you want. Ta-da! There's your salad.
Why do I always feel arugula is so bitter? I'm just not a arugula fan, I guess.
I don't know. Maybe you have to get accustomed to it. But, there are other things that are a little more bitter, like mustard greens are a little more bitter.
I like mustard greens more than arugula. God knows
arugula,
what happens.
I love it. It's got such a great flavor.
I must have been traumatized by an arugula farmer.
Maybe arugula chased you in one of your dreams.
In one of my dreams.
You were like force-fed arugula. But I love arugula. It's got sort of like I'm trying to remember what it tastes like, but I just know I love it.
Tastes like arugula.
I have some in my fridge. But you can put anything, any kind of lettuce, any kind of greens, and maybe not even.
Well, stay away from the iceberg lettuce because that's just not much nourishment in there.
Or you can make a great Greek salad. I love Greek salads. I used to take them to events all the time, to parties and potlucks and all sorts of things. So it's like tomatoes, red onions, feta cheese, olives, and cucumber, and olive oil, and a little bit balsamic or apple cider vinegar. And again, ta-da! Easy peasy.
And if you're sensitive to nightshades like tomato and other things like that and peppers, I just exclude them. Have the cucumbers and the feta and everything else like that.
It won't necessarily be a Greek salad. It'll be your version of a Greek salad. But I don't do well with red peppers, and so it is all Greek to you. All the salads in the world are Greek to you. It's like people have it's like anything. I have it like when you're eating real. Sorry, I'm trying to formulate this sentence here. I heard a chef.
Once upon a time, there was.
I heard a chef talking about how baking is so scientific, whereas cooking or preparing salads is more creative. You're using a different part of your brain because you don't really need to follow recipes unless you're really new at making dishes, cooking or whatever. Yeah. But with baking, it's very scientific. You have to have these certain measurements and you have to follow the recipe or it won't work. But cooking, making salads, have at it, have fun with it. And again, there's so much fresh vegetables now, and even adding fruit to those meals or the salads as well is fun. Like chopping up some grapes into your salad, into the salad I just described.
And that salad is available.
What's your favorite salad? What's your favorite salad?
I have to confess that it probably is. Well, it's actually a close tie between a salmon salad and a steak salad. If I can get some, or even a seared tuna in a salad, I love that.
So, what's in the salad part of all the?
There's a bunch of salad stuff in there, and
it's good thing I'm answering the question.
Typically, there's going to be everything you can imagine, from sort of like a spring mix to I think maybe even some almond slivers, and occasionally maybe raspberries, and maybe there's a vinaigrette. I have no vinaigrettes about my life, and then
pumpkin seeds and sunflowers.
Cucumbers, pepinos. I mean, there's all kinds of different things that can go in there. I actually ventured into a taco place this past week, and I did have a tripe taco, tripas. And everybody was like, "Oh, you're really going to have that?" And it was grilled in such a way that it was crispy rather than spongy or rubbery, and it was magnificent.
Well, really I never had that, but I'm sure all the seasonings and everything really
there's something to be said for organ meats. Like I'm the one who in the family who will actually go after when the chicken. I mean, I want those giblets. I want to eat the heart, the liver, all those things, and I feel good in terms of eating those, and everybody else in the family runs away.
So. You know, I grew up eating liver, and it was always overdone. And then we learned how to make it really well, where you just sort of braise it.
You soak it in milk.
We didn't do that, but we braised it. My mother actually invented this. It was just sort of braising it very lightly so it's tender. I mean, it's cooked, but it's not like hard. And then it was also with green onions, and it was delicious. So yeah, that's probably the only offal that I've ever had.
Yeah, my grandmother
had heart.
My grandmother made great liver and onions. Heart is just really amazing. I've often loved heart. We think about all the products that we used to use, some of the organ extracts from Metagenics, where they would use little bits of heart or liver or other things like that.
Standard process too.
Bovine or porcine or so, and they tended to stimulate your body's own production of certain nutrients
or balance it.
Balance.
Yeah, I mean that's what they use a lot in sausage making. They use a lot of these organ meats and sausage making, or like when I make a turkey at Thanksgiving, I'm cooking all of those organs and putting it back into the soup, in the turkey soup.
It's Monika traveling the Oregon Trail.
Yes, the Oregon Trail.
Oregon Trail. Oh, I think we're trailing off.
That is a great thing, and so cook away, salad away, eat away, have fun.
Eat away, eat your way to health. The coaching for health way.
Healthfully on your way to heaven.
Way. We're all on your way to heaven. Just remember, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You have to take action.
And good food.
And good food and wine.
So have fun and enjoy, and still be moderate. Just because it's summer, you don't need to go crazy. And just because we have an open kind of summer this year, almost normal.
Semi-open.
Yeah, semi-open. Yeah, any more questions?
I think we're actually out of questions here. We do enjoy answering your questions, so please submit them below this video wherever you are seeing it. And I would also suggest that you head on over to Total Health Live and you request access to our membership group on the Book of Faces. I think there are under 100 of you, but it's a nice little group there. And I will say also that we want to invite you to also head over to both the Coaching for Health Facebook page, like it, and you can watch these broadcasts from there. You can also reach Monika through the Facebook page, or also at Coaching for Health. Is it Monika at coachingforhealth.com?
It is. Okay. You got it.
Monika, you can go to the website. You can go to the website and actually sign up for her newsletter. So.
Yes,
you can sign up for the Mama Maggie's Kitchen newsletter if you head on over there too, because she has a bunch of vegetarian Mexican options.
There you go.
So
there
are no tripe tacos though. Not there.
No tripe tacos.
All right.
So good.
Thanks. Rock and roll.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great week. See you in July.
Well, no, won't we be back? Oh yeah, we'll be back in July 2nd. The tooth of July.
So, the tooth of July.
If you're a dentist, they like that.
I guess so.
Anyway, all right, we'll be back next week.
Bye. Have a good
your questions. Give us your comments. Let us know when you're watching this. If you're watching it on the replay, because most of you actually do, use the hashtag replay so we can find you and thank you. Okay, back next week.